There's a plant that some households quietly remove the moment they move in, hidden behind whispers of bad luck, emotional heaviness, or stagnant energy. In certain old villages, it was even kept out of ancestral homes, as if its soft leaves could trap the sighs of forgotten sorrow. And yet, in the mansions of the wealthiest families, in sun-drenched villas and quiet, powerfully still-study rooms, this very plant is deliberately kept, not just displayed but cherished. It doesn't bloom with loud colors. It doesn't carry any bold fragrance, but it does something far rarer. It holds. It holds peace. It holds fortune. It holds the kind of stillness that helps you make better decisions, even when everything around you is moving too fast. Why would one plant be seen as dangerous in some homes, but as indispensable in others? The answer lies in how you see energy. Some people believe energy should always move, fast, bright, upward. But those who understand depth, they know the power of what's still, what protects, what listens. This plant, modest and often overlooked, is not for showing off. It's for those who understand that true wealth is not gained, but kept. So before we talk about where to place it, who should grow it, and why it works so quietly and effectively, ask yourself, is there something in your home that's quietly draining your fortune, simply because nothing has been holding it in? Let's begin. Part 1. What is this plant? And why do Feng Shui masters call it the hidden reservoir? You've heard of money trees, snake plants, lucky bamboo. Each has its charm, its ritual, its claim to fame, but this one, it doesn't have a glamorous nickname. No myth about gods placing it at the gates of heaven. It's not even particularly rare. And yet, among serious Feng Shui practitioners, seasoned energy workers, and quiet elders who have watched generations pass through a single doorway, this is the plant they call the hidden reservoir. The one that keeps homes grounded not by force but by quiet stability. Its name? Shefflera, or more precisely, Shefflera arboricola, sometimes known as the dwarf umbrella plant. At first glance, it blends in, modest, unassuming. Its leaves are soft but structured, 5 to 7 leaflets in a circular arrangement like tiny green parasols. They don't droop, they don't reach, they just open. Open to light, open to space, open to energy. And that's exactly where its power begins. While many plants are known for doing just one thing, purifying air, bringing in luck, lifting the mood, the Shefflera is different. It doesn't just take, it doesn't just give, it balances. In Feng Shui terms, it's one of the rare natural objects that holds both wood and earth qualities in harmony. Wood gives growth, movement, forward motion. Earth gives stillness, containment, structure. Most plants by nature are wood dominant. They climb, they reach, they urge the space upward. But Shefflera, it rises with care, it thickens, steadies, gathers, it doesn't shoot, it centers. The energy it brings into a room is quiet but weighty. Not oppressive, grounding, not dimming, containing. It's the kind of presence that makes you want to sit down for a moment even if you didn't plan to. The kind of presence that slows your breath without asking. That's why energy practitioners often call it a field keeper. It doesn't clear the room, it holds the room, especially in homes where too much energy leaks. Through open schedules, open tabs, open wounds, this plant becomes a seal, a border, a vessel, and without even realizing it, the people inside begin to stabilize. Moods soften, conversations lengthen, thoughts find endings. It's important to note, this plant isn't flashy. If you're looking for a symbol of prosperity that shouts success from across the room, you'll likely overlook the Shefflera. But the richest homes, the longest marriages, the most emotionally intelligent families, they don't need a spotlight. They need endurance, quiet resilience, and this plant delivers just that. It's also surprisingly hardy. low maintenance, adaptable to indoor light, forgiving if you forget to water it for a few days. It mirrors the kind of groundedness we often wish we had more of, still but strong, quiet but rooted, gentle but impossible to push over. When Shefflera is placed correctly in a home, it begins to act like a center of gravity. Not the focal point, but the foundation. Especially in rooms where people gather to think, talk, or simply sit in each other's company, it becomes a silent witness to the better parts of human rhythm. The pauses, the returns, the decision to stay present. That's why Feng Shui masters quietly recommend it for households that feel energetically thin, where ambition outpaces reflection, where giving exceeds resting, where people are moving, but no one remembers where the center is. The Shefflera brings you back to that center, not by blocking movement, but by gently holding space for what matters to remain. And in a world where so much of our energy is scattered, between screens, schedules, and the speed of everything, there is something profoundly restorative about having one corner of your home that doesn't push or chase or demand. Just a quiet cluster of leaves, opening gently, absorbing softly, reminding you without a single word, some things are not meant to move quickly. Some things are sacred because they stay. Part 2, a humble plant with a hidden purpose. It doesn't draw attention. No bright petals, no sweet fragrance, no dramatic posture. Just a soft arrangement of glossy green leaves, gently fanned out like open hands resting in quiet confidence. You've probably walked past one without ever thinking much about it. Perhaps in the corner of a cozy living room, beside a couch where someone reads quietly in the afternoon. Or in a calm, low-lit office where the air feels more grounded than busy. It's the kind of plant that doesn't ask to be noticed, but once you do, you wonder how you ever missed it. For generations, this plant has been quietly present in homes where peace lasts longer than arguments, and where prosperity feels calm, not loud. Not all wealth is loud, after all. Some of it arrives in silence, stays for decades, and leaves behind more than numbers in a bank account. It leaves behind stability, clarity, and harmony. The kind of wealth that isn't measured by what you earn, but by what you keep. Relationships that deepen, health that holds steady, ideas that take root. This plant isn't a charm or a superstition. It doesn't promise overnight change or mystical power. What it offers is far more subtle and in many ways more profound. It holds. It holds energy the way a well-built home holds warmth on a winter night. It keeps the environment from leaking what's vital. It creates the stillness that allows insight to rise naturally, not forced. It invites reflection, not reaction. In the language of Feng Shui, it doesn't just attract good energy, it anchors it, giving it a place to settle, to grow, to protect. Most people are used to thinking of energy as something that moves, light, fast, expansive. We chase momentum, reach for success, seek stimulation. But the richest homes, the most emotionally intelligent families, understand that some of the most important energy doesn't need to move. It needs to stay, to hold, to become a quiet presence that gently shifts how a space feels, not through noise, but through calm consistency. That's exactly what this plant does. Its energy is often compared to a deep lake beneath a still surface, not stagnant, but stable. Beneath those layers of calm are reserves of strength, clarity, and resilience. And just like a lake, the environment around it begins to mirror that stillness. People breathe a little deeper in its presence. Conversations soften. Focus improves. The household slows down, but not in a sleepy way, in a centered way. A way that remembers what matters. There's a reason high-performing professionals keep this plant near their workspaces. why therapists often place it in the corner of their rooms, and why elderly couples tend to let it grow slowly in quiet places near bookshelves or reading chairs. It doesn't try to impress, it tries to stabilize. And in a world of constant digital noise, of rising cortisol and shrinking attention spans, something that helps us regulate emotionally without doing anything, without needing care every day, without emitting noise or demand, is incredibly valuable. We rarely stop to ask what holds our energy together. We focus on the exciting things: ambition, vision, goals, aesthetics. But what if those things keep slipping through our fingers, not because we lack effort, but because we haven't created a space where they can land and stay? This plant does that. It makes a space more retentive, more nourishing. It doesn't invite chaos, it absorbs it. Not by blocking or resisting, but by giving chaos a place to rest and lose its urgency. Some call it the guardian of stillness. Others call it the quiet keeper. What matters is not its name, but what it does when no one is looking. It gently holds your environment in a calmer frequency, and when placed with intention, it begins to do the same for your mindset. Not dramatically, but daily, quietly, sustainably. So before we rush into what it can do for your home or how to arrange it for better results, ask yourself, when was the last time your space made you feel still? Not just quiet, but held. When was the last time your living room made you take a deeper breath? Not because you had to, but because it welcomed it. This isn't about filling your house with more. It's about keeping what's already there from slipping away. Because sometimes, the most transformative energy in a home isn't the one that arrives loudly, but the one that chooses to stay. Part 3. Why was this plant banned in some homes? Not every story about this plant is peaceful. In some homes, especially older ones passed through generations, it was quietly removed. Not out of dislike, but out of caution. A whisper would pass between elders. That plant holds too much. It remembers what we try to forget. And just like that, it would be moved out to the porch or placed behind a curtain or simply gifted away with a half-hearted smile. It wasn't about allergies or inconvenience. It was about energy, specifically the fear of what might linger in a space if something kept it too still. You see, in every culture, there are things that become misunderstood because they're subtle. Because they don't announce their purpose loudly, they leave room for projection. People project fear onto what they don't understand, especially if it feels powerful in a quiet way. This plant became one of those things. To some, its still presence was mistaken for stagnation. If the household already carried tension, unresolved grief, or emotional heaviness, the plant was accused of trapping it. People began to notice that arguments lingered longer. Rooms felt heavier. Memories seemed to return uninvited. And instead of looking inward, they looked at the plant and blamed it. But here's what the wisest among them knew, and what the wealthiest families still know today. The plant wasn't creating those energies. It was simply reflecting them. And in some cases, it was holding them, waiting for someone to acknowledge what had gone unspoken. Imagine a room where no one has cried, but everyone has wanted to. Imagine a kitchen where every meal is made with love, but resentment simmers in silence. Imagine a hallway lined with framed smiles, while upstairs, two people sleep back to back, disconnected. These are the spaces where this plant starts to feel heavy, not because it's wrong, but because it's working too hard. Like a sponge that's never wrung out, like a listener who never gets to speak. What's misunderstood is that this plant doesn't trap bad energy. It just doesn't move it on its own. That's up to you. It's not a vacuum, it's not a purifier, it's a container, a vessel, a sacred bowl. And just like a bowl left unattended, it can become full. Not with poison, but with unprocessed emotion, unmet needs, unsaid truths. That fullness can make people uncomfortable, especially those who have learned to survive by moving faster than their feelings. So they blame the plant. But in households that are ready, households that are growing emotionally, that are willing to sit with what's real instead of rushing past it, this same plant becomes a friend, a holder of space, a gentle reminder that everything you haven't faced is still there, but it doesn't have to control you. That's why in homes led by emotionally mature adults, in spaces where therapy and journaling and silence are practiced, this plant doesn't feel heavy. It feels grounding. Therapists sometimes keep it in corners, not because it's decorative, but because it acts like a silent co-therapist. It absorbs without judging. It doesn't push, but it doesn't run. And in rooms where people are finally telling the truth, finally breathing fully, finally crying after months of numbness, it holds all of that without resistance. In this way, what once looked like a curse becomes a mirror. And a mirror isn't dangerous. It's just honest. And yet, placement matters. When this plant is placed near too much chaos, right by the front door where energy rushes in and out, or under the TV where fast-changing screens flood the room, it becomes overworked. Its strength gets stretched. Its purpose becomes unclear. But when placed intentionally, in a quiet corner beside a chair where you read or reflect, in a bedroom where you're finally learning to sleep again, it starts to do what it was made to do. It settles the room, not by stopping life from happening, but by giving life a space to pause between the moments. So yes, there were homes where this plant was removed. But that says more about the emotional state of the household than it does about the plant. Because the truth is, this plant doesn't punish you. It simply shows you what's already present. And sometimes, what's present is hard to look at. But when you're ready to look, ready to stay, this plant stays with you. Quietly, steadily, without asking for attention. Just like the peace you've been trying to create. Part 4, who benefits most from growing this plant? Not all energy is the same. Some of us wake up already in motion, our minds racing ahead before our feet even touch the ground. Others drift, soft and slow, full of emotions we can't quite name, sensitive to every shift in tone, every unspoken word in the room. This plant was never meant for one type of person, but it responds most deeply, most generously, to certain patterns of energy. The more unsteady your internal rhythm, the more this plant seems to root you. And the more overwhelmed you feel by others, emotions, or expectations, the more this plant begins to create a protective quiet around you. Let's start with those who move fast, the ambitious, the decisive, the always-on, do-it-now personalities. You know who you are? You thrive on momentum, challenge, clarity. You're the problem solver, the leader, the one who gets things done. But underneath that strength is often a current of overdrive, a motor that never turns off. And over time, that momentum becomes stress. That clarity becomes rigidity. That leadership becomes isolation. For people like this, the plant functions like a natural braking system, not to stop you, but to help you pause in the right moments. It reminds your nervous system that power is most sustainable when it's rooted. That even trees aiming for the sky need strong roots in still soil. It won't tell you to slow down, but it will quietly change the pace of the room you walk into. And before you know it, decisions feel less rushed, conversations feel more thoughtful, and your body stops gripping so tightly at the end of the day. Now let's talk about the emotionally attuned. The feelers, the empathic ones you sense more than others. You notice tone, tension, the way someone exhales. You carry the emotions of the room, sometimes without knowing it. You're the friend who listens deeply, the coworker who diffuses conflict, the partner who senses when something's off, even when no one says a word. But all that sensing can become exhausting. Without protection, your emotions can blur into others. Your energy can leak. You give and give until your own grounding slips away. For you, this plant becomes a soft border, not a wall, but a threshold. It holds space so you don't have to hold it all. In its presence, you... And what about those in transition? Those standing at the edge of something new, divorce, retirement, grief, healing, reinvention. Life after the kids leave. Life after the job ends. Life after something broke open inside and nothing quite feels familiar. For these moments, this plant becomes a steady companion. A living reminder that growth doesn't have to be dramatic to be real. That it's okay to take time. That slow progress is still progress. Every new leaf becomes a small affirmation. You're not stuck, you're rooting into something new. It thrives with very little, just like you're learning to. It adapts to light and space just like you are. It stays green even when life around it goes quiet, just like your hope, even if dim, is still present. Interestingly, even children benefit from its presence, especially those who are sensitive, creative, or anxious. In a world that overstimulates them with screens, noise, and speed, this plant gives their nervous system a counterbalance. Place it near their reading nook or by the window where they nap, and you may find their focus deepen, their emotions settle. It teaches without teaching, heals without trying. But perhaps most powerfully, this plant responds to people who are ready to tend to themselves. Not perfectly, not obsessively, just with gentle, daily presence. It responds to those who are trying to be more grounded, more mindful, more whole. If you find yourself drawn to calm spaces, if you've been craving silence more than stimulation, if you're learning to listen to your body instead of ignoring it, this plant will likely thrive in your care. Not because you're an expert gardener, but because your energy is beginning to match its frequency. And if you're not there yet, if your life still feels loud, fast, erratic, don't worry. This plant isn't offended, it won't judge you. It will simply wait, quietly, in the corner, absorbing what it can, grounding what it must, holding the peace you haven't quite found yet. Because some of us don't need more energy, we need help keeping the good energy we already have. We need something to remind us that being present isn't passive. It's powerful, and that's what this plant does best. Part 5, where to place it for maximum energy flow. Where a plant lives inside your home can matter just as much as what kind of plant it is. Because placement isn't just about decor, it's about flow. About whether energy enters and finds a place to rest, or rushes through and disappears before it can support you. This plant in particular doesn't demand a spotlight, but it does respond deeply to where it's placed. It doesn't want attention, it wants alignment. So where should it go? Let's begin with the most intuitive answer, the living room. This space is the heart of the home. It's where conversations rise and fall, where emotions float between people, even when no one speaks. It's the space guests first enter, the place where the day begins and ends for most families, which means it's the most energetically active and often the most energetically chaotic. Placing this plant in the living room isn't just practical, it's powerful. It begins to stabilize the flow of energy moving through your home like a quiet regulator. Think of it as the emotional thermostat of the room, not cooling or heating, just leveling, just softening, just holding. Where exactly in the living room? Aim for a spot that's visible but not central, a quiet corner near the couch. Next to the window seat where you read, beside a lamp that turns on every evening at the same hour. These rhythms matter. The plant responds to consistency, to patterns of presence. It wants to be near life, Not in the middle of it, but close enough to catch it gently as it moves by. Avoid placing it directly in front of the door or in a path of heavy foot traffic. Too much motion around it disrupts the subtle energy field it's designed to support. It doesn't want to be a traffic controller. It wants to be a guardian of calm. Now let's talk about windows, specifically those that face east or southeast. There's something sacred about morning light. It's soft, golden, full of promise but not pressure. It doesn't glare. It reveals, it tells the room, you made it. Here's another chance. When this plant receives that kind of light, even if just for 30 minutes, it responds. The leaves stretch. The air around it feels clearer. Photosynthesis begins, yes, but more than that, the plant wakes up energetically. It begins its quiet work of anchoring the day. A windowsill may not always have room, but a small table nearby often does. Place the plant where it can catch that soft light without being overwhelmed by heat. Morning sun is activating. Afternoon sun is often too harsh. This plant, like many of us, does best with a gentle start. There's also your workspace to consider, whether that's a formal home office or a quiet desk in your bedroom. This is where mental energy tends to spike, where screens glow, where thoughts race, where deadlines live, and where your nervous system is often most taxed. Here, the plant serves as a kind of energetic equalizer. It doesn't block your ambition. It just helps it move through you without burning you out. It becomes a soft focal point, something to look at when your eyes need a break, when your mind needs to recalibrate, when your breath starts to feel shallow. Place it within your line of sight, but not directly in front of your keyboard. Let it anchor your periphery. It will catch your attention when you need a pause, but not distract you when you're in flow. Its green becomes a visual rest stop in a digital world of grays and blues. And for those working long hours, the presence of something alive and still is a subconscious permission slip. You're allowed to breathe. You're allowed to stop. Finally, let's speak of bedrooms, the spaces meant for restoration, intimacy, and safety. This plant doesn't belong right beside your pillow, but near the door, in a soft-lit corner, or beside a reading chair, it's perfect. Its energy isn't sedative, but it's settling. It creates the kind of atmosphere where the nervous system can relax without sedation, where rest comes not from exhaustion, but from peace. If your sleep has been restless, your dreams unsettled, or your nights filled with overthinking, this plant won't fix it overnight. But it will begin to shift the space, like a background hum of calm, like an emotional boundary around your rest. And if you live in a small space, an apartment or studio, don't worry. You don't need multiple plants in every room. Just one, placed with intention, becomes enough. Energy doesn't multiply through quantity, it expands through attention, through presence. Wherever you choose to place it, pause first. Don't just put it where it looks nice. Sit in that spot, breathe there. Listen to what the room feels like without it. Then place the plant, not as an object, but as an ally, a participant in the mood you're trying to create. Let it be part of your household, not because it decorates, but because it heals. And if you do this, you might notice something subtle, a softer silence, a steadier breath, a sense that something is now holding the room so you don't have to do it all yourself. Part 6, when placement goes wrong, the cost of energy misalignment. It's easy to assume that a plant, any plant, just needs water, light, and the occasional dusting. That where you place it doesn't really matter, as long as it's out of the way or looks good. But some things are more than decoration. Some things are more like participants in your home's energy story. And when they're placed in the wrong scene at the wrong time, the harmony they were meant to bring can quietly turn into something else. This plant, in particular, is sensitive not in a fragile way, but in a relational way. It doesn't wilt to punish you. It shifts the space to mirror what's happening around it, and when it's placed without care, it starts to reflect that carelessness. The most common mistake is putting it right by the main entrance. It seems like a good idea. After all, that's where energy enters, where guests arrive, where light flows in. But for this plant, the front door is not an invitation, it's a storm. It's too much movement, too much energetic noise. It's where transitions happen, people come and go, packages arrive, weather shifts. It's not a place for stillness, and this plant thrives in stillness. When placed by the front door, its natural strength, its ability to hold energy, gets overwhelmed. Instead of grounding the space, it starts absorbing the tension of comings and goings. It becomes like a sponge left in running water, full, soggy, ineffective. And in time, the room may begin to feel scattered, a little too loud, a little too restless. You might not trace it back to the plant, but it's there reacting. Another mistake is tucking it away in a dark, unused corner, out of sight, out of mind. A forgotten alcove in the hallway. A spot between the laundry basket and a dusty cabinet. You might tell yourself it's fine, it's alive after all. But this plant doesn't just want to survive, it wants to connect, not with attention but with energy. And when it's left in a place that no one inhabits, it stops working as a bridge between you and your environment. It becomes inert, not harmful, but not helpful either. Energy needs a reason to move towards something. When a plant is exiled to a corner no one notices, it stops participating in the household rhythm. Its leaves may stay green, but its purpose fades. And in rooms where nothing quite feels anchored, where emotions shift without explanation, where conversations drift off without resolution, its absence of presence begins to show. And then there's the mistake of placing it too close to chaotic sources of energy. By the TV, under a buzzing Wi-Fi router, next to a constantly ringing phone. In theory, it's nice to green your tech space. But this plant isn't a shield, it's a stabilizer, and too much interference around it turns it from calm center to overwhelmed empath. It starts to collect jittery energy, unable to process or release it. You might notice that your focus slips more often, that your screen time becomes more draining, that the air around your work area feels heavier despite your best efforts. The plant is not causing this, but it is reflecting the imbalance. It's trying to help, but the environment isn't letting it. So what happens over time? Nothing dramatic usually. That's what makes it easy to miss. The effects aren't loud, they're subtle. A mild sense of disconnection, a low hum of restlessness. A room that used to feel like a sanctuary now feels cluttered emotionally, unanchored. You might find yourself leaving the space more often, avoiding it without knowing why, sleeping less deeply, feeling more irritable. Forgetting what you came into the room to do, all of it gentle, all of it reversible, but still real. Because misalignment, even in small doses, begins to ripple. The good news is, it doesn't take much to realign. Start by moving the plant to a space where you actually breathe, where you sit without scrolling, where light touches quietly but consistently, where voices aren't raised, where the mood stays stable or at least kind. Wipe the leaves with a soft cloth dipped in warm water with a pinch of salt or a slice of lemon. Not to purify in a ritualistic way, but to clear dust, tension, emotional static. Think of it like clearing a friend's shoulders after they've taken on too much for you. Then pause, sit beside it. No need to speak or think anything profound, just be. Let the room resettle with the plant in place. Let its frequency gently retune the energy, like a hand adjusting the volume to just the right level. Over time, you'll feel it, the air thickening in the best way, not heavy, but held. You'll remember what peace feels like when it isn't forced. And you'll realize something else, too. The cost of energy misalignment wasn't in what was broken. It was in what you couldn't feel anymore until it returned. By now you've probably realized something. This isn't just about a plant. It's about the energy of your home, the way you move through your days, the parts of you that feel scattered and the corners of your life that feel unheld. It's about the decisions you make when you're grounded and the ones you regret when you're not. It's about learning to listen before you fix, to pause before you speak, to notice before you rearrange. And maybe, just maybe, it's about realizing that some of the peace you've been chasing isn't outside of you. It's in the space you've already created. It's in the breath you forgot to take. It's in the corner of your room where a small, quiet plant has been waiting to become something more than decoration. There's a reason this plant has endured across homes, cultures, and generations. Not because it dazzles, but because it stays. It stays green when the world turns gray. It stays calm when you can't. It stays soft when life feels sharp. It stays alive even when you forget to look. And maybe that's the most powerful form of energy we can bring into our spaces. Not ambition, not attraction, but presence, the kind that says, this space matters, this breath matters, this moment matters. So if you've ever felt like your home holds too much noise and not enough calm, if you've ever walked into a room and felt everything scatter, if you've ever longed for something, anything, to help you feel anchored without demanding more from you, you don't need a miracle. You don't need to burn sage or rearrange your whole life. You just need something that understands stillness, something that doesn't perform but absorbs, something that waits for you to return and welcomes you without needing to be seen. Sometimes the most extraordinary shift begins with one quiet presence placed in the right corner. And so the question becomes, what have you been trying to hold together, alone, that was never yours to carry without help?